All right, ChroNoSo, thank you again for joining us. I'm here with Mr. Seth, and we haven't been on ChroNoSo a lot together as a pair, but as a duo, we always talk about wrestling. And even for the No-So YouTube channel, I think the last thing we did was that '98 War Games match. How'd you
Yeah,
like?
it's been a little bit.
I think it's safe to say that this match kind of tops that match for the viewing.
Yeah. But listen, when you take into account the time period and and everything, it's all good. It wouldn't. I don't think it would fly on today on TV without getting ripped apart by the social media gods. But
Yeah,
it was what it was for. For what it was for, I think it was good.
It lacked, the destroyers, and the
Yes.
the two counts, but they got to where they needed to go to. And the match that we were tasked with watching is Akeem, the African Dream, against the American Dream, Dusty Rhodes, baby.
The Battle of the Dreams, baby.
Yeah, so Seth, you were watching during this time. I wasn't alive during this time. I don't mean
I
to
was waiting. I
make you
was
feel
waiting
old.
for that one.
But I want you to take back to like around this time period.
Yeah.
Now, with Akeem, like how did his transformation from his previous character happen to here?
So Akeem was at one point known as the one man gang. You know, pretty destructive force of nature himself. He was one bad mother trucker. 400 and something pounds, had a mohawk with tattoos on the side of his head. And then I don't remember exactly how many years he was in WWF at the time, but Slick got Slick played it off as if it was his idea, but I'm sure the creative gods got the idea at the time to repackage him into Akeem, the African Dream, where instead of coming out in his half sleeveless cut off leather with some spikes, he grew his hair in, covered up the tattoos, had a big blue jumpsuit on him, came out to Slick's Jive Soul Bro doing his dance, and he became one half of the Twin Towers with the Big Boss Man.
Now with Akeem, like his promo style, of course, shifted with this
Yes.
character change,
Yeah.
and a lot of people kind of parallel that change to the Dusty Rhodes American Dream or promo dialect. Do you hear that, or do you think it's two separate kind of promo styles?
I never noticed it until you just said it now. I could see it. Akeem, the African Dream, the American Dream. If you want to make it's not a far stretch.
Mhm.
But I never thought about that. Growing up, of course, I was, in this time I was early teens. So I wasn't really looking too detailed into this. I wasn't sitting there saying to myself, "Oh, this is a knockoff on the American Dream, Dusty Rhodes." I wasn't thinking that. I was, to me, I was entertained, of the metamorphosis and the effect that Slick had on the one man gang, turning him into a one bad dude into this friendly still heel but African dancing machine, basically.
Mhm. And because back then in WWE, there were some allegations, of course, with the participants involved. The demolition being a take
Yeah.
off the Road Warriors and
Mm-hmm.
stuff. Do you think like at this time, like if you were to like look back at the lens, who do you think had like a better trajectory if that happened same time with
Mm-hmm.
Akeem and Dusty Rhodes? Let's say they came in similar
So,
time. Which one, whose upside was better in your opinion?
so I didn't look at this before we came on. So, I mean, if you want to look at it while we're doing this,
Mhm.
I know. So Dusty Rhodes came in about 1989, I would say.
Mhm.
I know he was at SummerSlam '89, so that's why I know. So I'm gonna say that's around the time he came in.
Mhm.
Akeem was rebranded around the same time, maybe
Mhm.
a little earlier, and so I don't know if it was done, as a in that regard, if it was just a coincidence. I couldn't tell you.
Mhm.
Um, he didn't. It's not like he came out looking like Dusty Rhodes. They didn't. they didn't dye his hair blonde,
Mm.
which I mean they could have,
Mhm.
Dusty Rhodes was never out there in a big blue jumpsuit. And Akeem was not a face; he was still a heel. So, I mean, I don't see too many parallels other than the name, the African Dream and the American Dream. I don't see too many parallels. I really don't.
And at this time, Dusty Rhodes had a manager,
Yeah.
Sweet Sapphire.
Sweet Sapphire, baby, the fan turned manager. Yes.
Now, did you like those kind of like characters and backstories where it's just like it just seems like normal people just getting into the WWF?
Again, Richie, I don't know about you, but I've never been able to just get into the WWF. I mean, many a times I've sat ringside and no one ever invited me to hop into the ring and hit someone with a chair. No one ever invited me to do commentary. No one ever invited me to be a guest manager. So listen, that's a great story. I wish it was a little more realistic. I don't think anyone believes that she was an actual fan. That just Dusty Rhodes caught his eye and became his manager. And I don't even know why they use the term manager. She's more a valet.
Right. Yeah.
I don't think she was handling his business behind the scenes and getting him championship matches, or anything like that. So I don't think she was arguing and speaking on his behalf to the powers that be. So I'd rather use the term valet.
Now, do you think nowadays now everyone's like a manager and
Yeah.
the term valet is kind of like retired. Now, back then, what did you think more of a manager was? Like we had Slick and we had a valet as Sapphire, and what's the difference between the two in your opinion?
I think the valet is just someone who's arm candy, if you want to say that, right? I mean, Elizabeth, clearly a valet, but but Elizabeth and Sapphire were always announced as managers, right? When they did the ring announcing for the match, we're going to talk about. She was introduced by the ring announcer as his manager. Elizabeth was always introduced as Randy Savage's manager. So I don't think there was too much of a distinction in WWF world between the two. But I think to me, a valet is just there for show and not too much tell.
And with this match, the commentary team is very interesting to me.
Yeah, so now again, Richie, you weren't alive back then, but
yeah.
So and I missed this, and I really wish they still did this. Back then, every month, and it was every month. So house shows were run a little bit differently. You had your major markets, and us living in New York, we were one of them. So every month there'd be a show at Madison Square Garden. And it wasn't like nowadays where it's the MSG holiday, holiday tour, the WrestleMania Revenge tour. The way they played it off was that, every city there was a continuation of story. So like, if, just to give an example, let's say, Hulk Hogan was in a match with a member of the Heenan family, and then somebody came in and interfered. The following month, there would be a tag match between the four, and Hogan would have to find a partner. So they always had some kind of continuity month to month. It didn't seem like it was a, generalized tour that every city got. And at the end of the night, whoever was doing the ring announcing, whether it was Howard Finkel or one of the others, from the B Squad, would always come out and, it's now, it is now time to talk about next month here at Madison Square Garden. And they go over the whole card. And then they would, of course, end it with tickets go on sale, right after the event tonight, and you can go up to the box office because they didn't have online sales back then. But, what was really cool about this time period is if you didn't get a chance to go into the city to see it, MSG Network always played it for you. So you always had the house show on MSG Network, whether it was live or taped. They always had a commentary team, whether it was, Gorilla Monsoon and Bobby Heenan, or if Gorilla Monsoon couldn't make it, or Bobby Heenan couldn't make it, there would be, some fill-ins. We got some fill-ins on this one, but I always thought the commentary team added to it,
Yeah.
Like with Bobby Heenan on commentary, ripping apart Sapphire for not being a manager, insulting his chosen career. He's worked his entire life as a manager. She comes out of the crowd and, she's a manager. What does she do? Like, to me, it made it entertaining, and it took me back when I was watching this the other day.
Because we have the MSG network, and periodically they would show like shows like this that happened in the 80s all the way up until probably like mid 2000s. They would show like matches like that.
Yeah.
And the commentary team for this one is Gorilla Monsoon, Bobby Heenan, nothing out of the ordinary. Nope. And then you got Hillbilly Jim.
Yes.
Yep.
To play the foil for Bobby the Brain Heenan, I guess you could say.
Yeah, and it seems like now I know a lot of people don't like the 3-person announced teams, and people prefer the 2-person announced teams. But I feel like every once in a while, when it's like a special occasion, like you can afford to have like a superstar beyond color commentary, because it kind of brings like a different vibe. I remember there was like a random SmackDown where Jay was injured, so Jimmy was just a commentator on SmackDown. For a good while. Do you think wrestling should get back to that every once in a while? Or do you think the 2-person booth is a
I wouldn't, and I kind of, I think we've spoken about this before. We have the network, or Peacock, soon to be Netflix. I don't know which, exactly what they would consider the network, but they have the ability, to stream on their platform a house show. If they did on house show Saturdays, and they did some kind of, version of this, to me, I think it's a great idea where you have, maybe an older wrestler who might be transitioning out of the ring, give them a chance to start practicing up at this, on commentary, see what you got, because back then, they weren't bringing in, the Joe Tessitores and the Jackie Redmonds and the people from, the professional
Pat
sports.
McAfee's,
Pat McAfee's, right? It was Gorilla Monsoon, it was Vince McMahon, and a bunch of former wrestlers, basically, to which Gorilla Monsoon was one himself. But you know what I'm saying? It was basically former wrestlers doing the commentary. So, I don't. Part of me thinks that maybe at times like this, maybe someone in the back scene, they're saying, "Hey, Hillbilly, do you ever think about doing some commentary? Let's see what you got." Possible. I wasn't there.
Now let's get to the match itself.
Yeah, man.
It's like from a standard match, it's like, this is what I kind of expect. It's
a house show.
It's a house show. No tremendously big bumps. I think the biggest bumps were the Dusty would do the comedy spot where he would do the the shuck and drive, tease the elbow, and then Akeem would just timber over.
Right.
So that was pretty much the biggest bump like we saw in this match.
Yeah, I mean, listen, it was a house show, and we always, to this day, you still get more, a house show that you wouldn't get on TV, with guys playing around with stuff. It was, I don't remember at the time, and I was trying to think about this as I was watching it. I don't remember if this was just, a match of two dreams. Like, I don't remember if there was a backstory going into it. That I don't remember, but I don't think it mattered. The match was what it was.
Yeah, and they had some comedy spots in there. This is like a comedy match for the time period. You had the tangled up in the ropes where it's like Akeem is just kind of like cross-armed like in the ropes, and Dusty's like playing on the ropes, making sure like the pressure's still on. And you had other things, like you had the outside stuff like Slick trying to intimidate Sapphire.
Yep. Oh yeah.
Was
he trying to intimidate her or flirt with her? I couldn't figure that part out myself.
It's either or. Either way, Sapphire was rebuffing whatever Slick was trying to do. And for Akeem, he was, the nerve hold was the big, like slow down spot. And it's a lot of striking. You're not going to see a lot of, grappling stuff. You're not going to see a lot of like fancy moves. It's like it's two big guys, and what shocked me because Dusty was always a big guy, but he was not like Akeem.
No,
big.
Dusty was definitely the lightweight in this match, huh?
Yeah, and I think the biggest like I guess if you want to do like a false finish was Akeem rolling out of the elbow drop.
Yes,
that Dusty would do, and that's what came into the finish, which eventually was a count out victory for
But,
Dusty Rhodes.
but let's talk about this, the ridiculousness of this count out.
Yeah, let's.
Yeah, so they're on the floor. Akeem is holding Dusty Rhodes,
Mhm.
and Slick not coming over with a chair, not coming over with a cane. He comes running over, jumps up, goes to hit Dusty Rhodes with a high knee, misses Dusty, and then the 160-pound Doctor of Style basically knocks out Akeem with his knee. A knee from Slick knocks Akeem out of the way. Dusty rolls back into the ring.
As he's about.
Akeem is not able to recover from the mighty powerful knee of Slick, and the match ends on a count out. I mean, quality booking, man. I don't think they'd be able to get that done today, but for a late 80s house show, why not?
Yeah, you gotta keep everyone strong for the next show. That's
Exactly.
happening in the arena. But
We really should look in to see if there was a rematch the following month.
yeah, I mean that's what ChroNoSo's all about. So maybe next month we'll be talking about maybe they'll have a mixed tag with Sapphire and Dusty versus Slick and Akeem.
I don't think they did that the next month, but today they probably would have, right?
Yeah, it's like anything to draw the show. And again, it's like one of the
today you'd have Sapphire on a pole or something,
like in like the shark cage or something.
Yeah.
And you'll have Slick maybe like handcuffed to the the ring post, just over the top kind of thing. But like this match, it was meant to be like the breather match, but also it's like both stars are as charismatic as they are. Dusty's like the king of charisma at this stage of his career, so he knows what he's doing. Akeem's still trying to get this character off the ground.
Mm-hmm.
Now, Seth, would you ever watch this match again, or do you think it's like a one? Like, glad that the memories, like you watched it, or is it like a one and done kind of deal?
I'm not. Listen, I wasn't sitting around saying to myself, man, I would love to watch Big Boss, Akeem versus Dusty Rhodes. Let me go sort through my VHS tapes. Which, by the way, I'm sure I have it because I used to tape all these events.
All right,
So I have the VHS. I actually wish I could find the tape because I'm curious of a couple of things. I'm curious as to match placement. Was this early in the card, late in the card, middle of the card? Who was before and who was after them? And again, I would like to have heard, at the end, I'm curious to see if there was a follow-up the next month. I think, that would be important, if you're looking at, the chronology of this event, but here on ChroNoSo. But otherwise, listen, it was a great match to relive some memories on, but I don't see myself going back and watching the match again, Whereas I in comparison, I've watched the War Games from last night 3 times already. So
no, okay,
yeah. So I don't see myself doing the same thing with this match.
Yeah, it's not exactly cinema, but it's a fine 5-8 minute match.
Yeah,
just
listen,
like you throw it on the background. Both guys did their job.
There were no boring chants.
No, yeah, they were in, they were out. Nothing too crazy.
Played the hits and got out of there. Exactly.
And got paid. That's all we can ask for.
And got paid. Exactly. I mean, how would this match be different nowadays? I think you probably would have had some bigger spots.
A lot more flips.
I don't know about flips, but maybe some maybe some train wreck crashes into the announce table or something,
Maybe a splash from the top rope by Akeem, maybe a swanton by Dusty, all those kind of things.
Again, I can't picture Dusty doing a swanton.
I mean, it's one of those things where it's like it's still going to get a 2 count either way in today's day and age. So
maybe the bionic elbow off the second rope is about the highest I could see him going.
We'll see how good the house is. You know what I mean?
Yes.
All right, that was Dusty Rhodes versus Akeem, and it was a fun trip down memory lane. And hopefully, Seth and I will be back here next episode on ChroNoSo to talk about the next latest match that's going to be happening. So you could always check me out. Retold Richie Mars. Seth and I are on there occasionally, talking about the past of the wrestling stuff. And Seth, are you going to Saturday night's main event?
I think so, yes. Are you?
All right. So am I.
Nice.
So we're going to even go to another throwback, and we're
There
going
you
to
go.
be there as well, see how it compares and contrasts to this time period.
I think we might have to do a show on this.
Yeah, I think we do too.
Yeah.
But that's going to do it for
Ratings.
us in this section of ChroNoSo. So we will see you next time.